And I stamped this sword on the ground. I stood up again, and I couldn't get out the ground. It was like, you know, it's like, damn, you know. But also, this was the sword, they said to me, the organisers, this is a charity event, so actually a wonderful event to kind of encourage talent from Scotland to make their way. But the organisers said to me, we have the sword of William Wallace. It's never left Scotland before. Wow. So I demand, somebody else took it on, but I said, please give me, you know, let me take this sword. And I look at the blade, and it says, made in India. So I'm still trying to work out this is the sword of William Wallace. And then I take it backstage, because I think, you know, I've used a sword in a few movies. Yeah. But this thing's 25 feet long, you know, so I'm swinging it outside and I keep hitting the floor and hitting the roof. And then I'm about to go on and this woman walks up and I just feel this hand on my sword and she said, I'm sorry, sir.
What was that again?
And her other hand on the large sword. You still don't know which one I'm talking about. And she said, I'm sorry, sir, but you've been drinking alcoholic beverages and you might hurt somebody with this. I have to take it off. And I said, listen, darling, I haven't had a drink for 8 years. I've been trained to use a sword in 4 movies. Piss off. I wore a kilt for my brother's wedding and for my sister's wedding, and they were both disasters. My sister's wedding, I had to do a reading. You know, it was a Catholic ceremony. It was a big Catholic ceremony. There were 400 people in the church, and I walk up and I do a reading, and then I sit down to face the congregation. I know. You know what's coming. My mother is in the front row, and she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and she's going. I think she's telling me to pray. So there's only, and I go, and I'm like this, like that. And as I'm sitting like this, it's just like, and then I suddenly look down and I go, you know. My brother's wedding, I was the best man and I had to make a speech and I was so nervous. And I go into the cubicle in the toilet and I have my speech and I'm sitting there in the cubicle and I'm doing that, you know, I'm reading the speech and I'm going, because I'm trying to be a comedian in this speech. And then I stand up and I feel dripping on the back of my legs. And I'm like, oh no! And then I go to the dryer, and I'm on in 5 minutes, and my ass is showing to the world, and I'm using the dryer. And all these people are coming in going, you know, hey, you're on, and I go, I'll just be there in a second, I'm just like... So it's not really the Braveheart that you would imagine. No. You know.
Well, didn't I read you saved someone once? Did I read that?
Yeah,
What was that?
I did a far better job than I did in Sydney, I tell you. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, it looks like I got hit by lightning. Oh, well. Can I get another beer over here, please?
I was in Scotland. It was about a year after filming Mrs. Brown. I went for a trip with my mother. I always talk about my mum, don't I? But I went for a trip. We went to the hotel where I stayed at, and the River Tay runs through there. I was lying on the banks, and I heard these kids screaming. And I turned around to this woman and said, are those kids in distress? I don't know why I was so formal, but anyway, I walked over and this kid came over screaming, saying, my friend, he's in the river. And I looked in and he'd gone under the water. He came back up, went under, and so I dived out and possibly performed the worst exercise in life-saving. I mean, instead of being like that, you know, I was totally vertical, just swimming and trying to touch the bottom. And then I came out, and of course, conveniently, everybody had now noticed after the fact. So they were all crowded round, but I didn't know what to do, but a guy gave him the Heimlich manoeuvre, and then he was fine, and then I got an award for that, actually.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Were you able, last time we talked, you were quitting smoking, last time you were here? How's that going?
It's good. You walked into the dressing room.
Yeah, I did. It's like an opium den when I would... Yeah, I worked at Carnival too, but mine's... Yeah, you didn't want to go there. But let me ask you about... I want to ask you about being a student in Scotland. Did you ever study? It seemed like you were always sort of partying and drinking.
No, I studied. I mean, and I was president of the Law Society.
President of the Law Society, were you? Did you party a lot?
As well. Yeah, I partied a lot, yeah. I had a lot of crazy times. In fact, while I was the president, we had a fancy dress, a Halloween cheese and wine ceilidh, right?
Cheese and wine ceilidh?
Cheese and wine ceilidh, you know, it's a kind of traditional Scottish dance. But none of that went on. We just all got drunk. And I dressed up as a Viking. And I swear, a lot of my friends were insane. And the next minute, I see 6 of them kicking the crap out of this guy on the floor. And the guy didn't belong. I had to drag him away. I take him outside. And remember, I have horns on, and hair, you know, like false hair and a helmet and furry boots, and I took him outside and I'm holding him saying, you can't come back in, mate. And he grabs me by the throat and he's like, what are you saying? And he pulled me right next to his face. So I gave him the best Glasgow kiss. And he screamed at me, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. By this point, I was really angry. And I'm like, well, remember the face then. And then I had visions of him later on that night with all his friends in the car and his friend going, so what did he look like, this guy? He's like, right, well, he had horns coming out his head. He had funny boots on.
Without buying a lot of bracelets, I made these myself. This is getting ridiculous. I walk down the street like this now.
What is the idea with the bracelets then? Do people send them to you?
No, I was given one, and then this cost about 25 pence. I picked it up in London when I was trying to get jewellery for my little nieces for Christmas, and I thought, you know what, they're not getting this.
I'll get myself a big sparkly bracelet.
I love this one.
Did you get yourself a Hello Kitty at the same time?